Welcome everyone. Today is February 28, 2018. This is the meeting of the Kubernetes CSI implementation group. Today we're going to go through the agenda one by one, starting with PRs that need attention. Looks like David added CSI test PR. David or Sergey, do you guys want to talk about this?
Yeah, go ahead, Sergey.
Well, actually, Luis, that was, if you could talk about that, and then I'll add if you don't mind.
Sure. So, actually, I didn't know
okay.
that it was, you get
about that, and then I'll, if you don't mind.
Sergey, you're breaking up a lot, just so you know. But the idea behind this is that right now, mock and the CSI test were separate. And our proposal, now this is just a proposal, is to bring in the mock driver, a simplified version of it, a very little one, into the CSI test repo so that the sanity test and the can be tested. That's really the goal. And it can be tested and it can use this implementation that already exists. Now, we don't want to, the goal is not to replace the mock driver in GoCSI. We don't want to do that. The goal is to have a testable CSI sanity driver, and that's it. That's our goal. And to do that, we would propose that we want to keep this in the same repo so that when we make change to one, we make change to the other. So, and the goal on that one too is that when this moves to container storage interface, the CSI sanity, that it pulls in this implementation of the mock driver, which is a very simplified one. So that's the proposal.
There's one more reason I would like to add. I mean, with this mock driver, we can really clean up everything, every single return code, and really validate that the end-to-end tests the compliance of the driver with the spec. So we have a set of E2E tests. If it passes with this driver, so we can expect the same results when we're testing against like a host path plugin, for example, or anything else. It's doable with the Go CSI definitely, but it's just a bit more effort because it would require more synchronization between, since we kind of don't own that, just extra. With just a bit more effort, require more synchronization since we just.
Sorry, Sergey, you're breaking up. Could you repeat the last 5 seconds?
I'm not sure what to do with my internet connection. I tried to close everything I could, but basically,
you're good. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So one of the reasons I wanted to add is that we can really clean up this mock driver to be 100% compliant with the CSI spec, and then the tests, E2E tests based on this mock driver, we can use to test other drivers like host path plugin, or people can use this test to validate their implementation of the driver, and that gives them a sort of a comfort that their driver implementation, follows the CSI spec.
Okay.
So, and to do that, I think, using this mock driver will be just easier to clean everything up than basically going after the Go CSI changes. So it's just more matter of convenience, I think.
Okay. I think that seems okay to me.
Then Go CSI changes, matter of convenience.
I think the Zoom is trying to catch up on what you said last time. Yeah.
We missed that last part, Sergey.
I think he said it's a matter of convenience.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's a matter of convenience.
Okay. I mean, I think that's fine. The only thing we should do is make sure we run it by the code team, make sure that they're okay with us forking it. And if they're okay with that, then I see no reason not to do this.
Yeah, and I want to point out it's not really a fork. It's not like we're releasing it. It is an implementation for our tests.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to say we have our own mock version that's separate from yours. That's not the goal.
Yeah.
I guess I have two little things to add. One is I think I discussed this with Saad a little bit, whether we should move. I think discussions for this have already been happening, but whether we should move the whole CSI test repo into the CSI org where the spec lives as well.
Yeah.
Since it's not exactly Kubernetes dependent. And then the second thing is, I guess if we're moving this mock part into this repo, that basically stops us from contributing back upstream to the original repo, right? Where whatever changes we make here, in theory, would be beneficial to the upstream repo. I don't see why this would need to diverge, basically.
That's a good question.
It sounds like the main reason is to try to speed things along. That said, I know Andrew has been pretty responsive with the Go CSI changes, and I saw a post by him yesterday saying that he'd already updated Go CSI to be 0.2 compatible.
Yep. And again, and I'll bring this up because I want to get also Vladimir's point of view. Is I don't know how long more that we're gonna have maintainers for Go CSI.
Well, so the thing is, Go CSI it's open source, and it is officially has been moved to a central, or I should say, it's been moved to the Linux Foundation, I believe. So, the reticence that, I mean, it's open source, so you can always.
So we can go either way. Then we can either add code to it, or we can do
right.
both.
Yeah. So as far as support, I don't think support is going away because talking to he seems to think that he's going to continue to work on it. But again, Go CSI is no longer owned by. It's not a Dell thing. It's open. So if it's gonna be open to submit PRs if there's a roadblock down the line. And I would, my take is let's treat it as we would treat any other open source dependency. Push PR to it up until the point where there's non-response. So that would be my suggestion.
Mm-hmm. So can we try that as a possible step? Basically, take these changes and propose them to Go CSI directly.
That's fine with me.
Sergey, would you be okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll give it a try. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. And Vlad, can you clarify the exact state of this? Because I see that it's still in the RexRay.
Yeah, the whole thing has so the RexRay organization was created so that it would be moved out of Dell.
Okay.
What I will do is I'll propose to Andrew and Clint so they can clarify that and make it super clear the current state. I'll bring it to their attention so they can clarify it.
Okay,
where,
sounds good.
Ownership, et cetera, et cetera.
And then Sergey, you could just update or basically move these changes to the actual repo, and that way we can continue to use that externally. And then maybe Go CSI can actually be eventually pushed into the CSI repository proper. We can consider that in the future.
Yeah, that one, I'm just voicing this now. I think OCSI right now is way over engineered. That's one of my huge concerns.
Okay.
And it provides a lot of answers for a few questions. So I just think sometimes that we need to first find the questions and then find, like, this is how you answer it. That's my only concern with OCSI mainly, that it provides like an endless amount of possibilities. And I just want to get it clear and concise and simple. It's just my style. I'm just voicing my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Luis 100%. I mean, it seems that Go CSI comes with too many batteries included, which we never use and don't really need, and it complicates life. That was one of the reasons, another reason why we kind of looked into just a separate mode.
Right. So to me, that sounds like
you really need, and it complicates life. Another reason.
The Zoom buffer is catching up.
Yeah, we missed the last little bit of your talk. Could you say that again, Sergey?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So basically, I think this simple mock driver would be way more easier to maintain even for Andrew. So maybe if he could kind of split his middleware and the mock in the more separate things, it would be easier for us.
Got it.
To me, that even sounds like a pretty good argument to keep this PR.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So how about
more would be easier for us?
Yeah, we agree. It's okay. I think Vladimir, you were saying, I think that we should bring this up.
Sorry, say it again.
I thought you were about to say to bring this up to the community. Go see
Oh, that too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't quite paying attention, and I do not have a context as to why Go CSI, why we're discussing Go CSI at this point. But I think it would be definitely worth, if it's something that that the community feels that will be part or should be would be an important part of CSI moving forward, definitely bring it up. Yeah, and
for the sake of the project, I think like the most important thing right now is that we can move quickly. Right. I understand that the concern that both Sergey and Luis raised is that Go CSI does a lot of things and tends to be a little bit opinionated, and they want just, for example, a mock CSI without any of the extras, and that's what this PR apparently is trying to do. So how about
my confusion is, I thought that's what Luis, you already had that.
No, I never actually. I just never actually had it. I just used the mock driver from Go CSI before. That's what I always used.
Oh, okay. I thought. Okay, so this is separate and different than the other test that you had.
This is okay. So there's two things. Okay. The CSI test provides a generated mock implementation of the CSI interface. Right. That can be used only for unit tests, because you have to set it. But this is like an in-memory with state device, and that's really nice.
Just a mock plugin.
Yeah, exactly. It's just necessary for testing CSI sanity, which has become the tool for the container CSI project, right? So we just need a tool to test it.
So is there an equivalent of this PR number 44 in what Go CSI has today?
No. That PR was created at the same time that Andrew was creating his. Okay. And I think Andrew already finished his work for 0.2.
Mhm.
So it should be able to now pull his changes in. Now,
see.
the thing is, when we go to 0.3, then we kind of go right into situation again where we have to kind of who's from first kind of
Right.
situation. So that's something we can work out though. We have time for 0.3, so we can go with what's available right now. If we can, Sergey, what do you think? We can just pull the latest of what they had for.
Either way works for me. I mean, we will just need to push some changes for the inconsistency we found in the Go CSI mock driver plugin.
Okay.
Consistency we found in the Go CSI mock driver
It's funny how
plugin.
it replaced the last like 3 seconds.
Yeah, we missed that last part, Sergey. So it sounds like this PR is adding functionality which does not exist in Go CSI, but it could potentially be refactored to reuse some of what already exists in Go CSI. Is that what you're saying?
It's exactly a replica of what was done in Go CSI,
Oh,
with
okay.
a small exception. There were several error codes which were not consistent with what spec tells to return,
I see.
and that was corrected in this PR.
Okay.
So, okay. And I think, it probably would be good
No
to,
spec tells return, and that was
all right. I think, since there's such a large overlap with Go CSI, I think it would be worth it to contact Andrew and bring him to his attention. Is there a way to either split the project where the mock driver become its own thing, so that way, the driver can be used as a standalone. But
Yeah.
I definitely think it's worth bringing that to his attention.
Agreed.
Instead of going out and forking it or creating something new, or et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, actually, I will take an action item to add an issue, not a PR, an issue into the Rexray, so we can discuss it there.
Yep.
And I'll put a proposal there.
All right.
Okay, sounds good. What I also want to do is make sure we don't get blocked by this for the rest of our end-to-end testing. If you guys think that you can move faster by getting this merged and coming back and doing refactoring later and consolidating with Go CSI, I would be okay with that. Right now, I would prefer speed over sitting around and making sure that we have things in the right place. We can consolidate later if we need to.
You got it.
So it's your call. Let me know if you're blocked. Okay, so moving on, it sounds like we're gonna carry that offline. There was a bug that Sergey raised last time in the external provisioner. Apparently, the way that the external provisioner is currently, the way that it functions, it creates a identification, an ID number that is unique per time that it's running. And if it creates some volumes and then the plugin restarts, its ID is different and those original volumes get orphaned. Is there any progress on this?
Yeah, there was a couple of discussions I had with Jan, and basically he posed a very valid question. I mean, why would we need it at the first time? And basically, we couldn't come up with any particular reason, because the ownership of the volumes is determined by the name of the provisioner mentioned in the storage class, right? So as long as this provisioner belongs to or associated with that storage class, ID shouldn't matter at all. So I'm proposing to completely remove the ID check. And in this case, basically, whatever older provisioner created volumes, they should be able to be deleted by the new provisioner, as long as it belongs to the same storage class.
Yep, that makes sense. Anybody disagree?
Sounds good.
Okay. Sergey, do you have time to work on this, or should we find someone else to work on it?
It's already implemented. I need
Okay.
I need reviews, and basically that's pretty much it.
Is that PR?
Yeah, PR. There is a list of PR a bit below for each external component that I submitted. So
Oh,
I mean,
perfect.
it's there.
You are on top of your stuff, Sergey. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other bugs that we're aware of that we should be tracking? Okay. Sergey, if you could update the doc, just post the PRs in underneath the bugs area, it might be helpful.
Yep.
Okay. So code freeze slipped from Monday to Tuesday. I think we got most of what we wanted in. We can go over the tasks individually. And before that, proposals move real drivers from driver's repo to their own repo. Who put this?
I did that. I should have put my name on it.
Okay.
So I'm just, I don't need to read the caps. I just bring this up. I don't want to take too much time on it. Just people think about it. We're going to discuss it again another time. It's just, it seems to be like the sample repo. The driver's repo was supposed to be for samples, essentially becoming more realistic.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is like to take the real drivers out into their own repos on the Kubernetes CSI. That's easy enough. And then rename the drivers repo to sample drivers for whatever it's there, like host path, I think should be a sample driver, right?
Yeah.
And then that kind of makes things simpler for testing and understanding what they're for.
Yeah.
It's just a proposal.
Seems reasonable to me. Any disagreements? Okay.
All right. The only thing I need to know is which one's the sample ones, and I can send an email out or something.
Yeah, we could do that over email.
Okay.
Okay. So one of the big remaining item in the Kubernetes core is moving from 0.1 to 0.2. Sergey did a lot of work here to get these changes in before code freeze. The only thing that's remaining is that once 0.2 is tagged, we need to update our dependency to point at the 0.2 tag instead of to head, which is the current state. CSI 0.2 release candidate was cut on Monday afternoon, and we will give 72 hours before we cut the official 0.2, so that should happen tomorrow afternoon. And then once the official 0.2 is cut, we can create a PR that'll change from head to 0.2 tag, and that should be the last change that we need to get in for this. So we can do that tomorrow. The rest of these are green. CSI credentials went in, so we can go ahead and delete that. The registration socket stuff, Vlad, did you get a chance to look at this at all?
I was just thinking about it. I didn't, but I'll make sure I look at it today.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm not sure what the state of it. We can come back and look at this again on Friday.
And you definitely want to get that in this quarter, or what?
Excuse me. No, I just wanted to make sure that the design, where the design's headed, is compatible with what we have.
Okay, I'll definitely make sure time for it today.
Okay.
All right.
The other two items are green, and end-to-end tests is something that we should start focusing on now. I think for the next few weeks, this is all that we should be doing, is just making sure we test, add as many tests as possible. This means adding new tests as well as making sure that the existing tests that we have are enabled and running. Luis, can you be the lead on this and recruit people to help? I know Pietro was asking, or sorry, Felipe was asking for on what he can help out with, and
Sure.
it sounds like this is going to be an important area.
Yeah, that's fine. And the only thing I noticed is that we don't really test other drivers, right? So the only driver that we can actually test with is the host path driver, and that's a single node driver. So our tests are very limited. They just test to make sure that we do things. And the E2E test that we have right now does all that. So we don't really have like a suite of tests that test negatively or force things to fail or anything like that.
Yeah.
The E2E test that we have right now does do the necessary testing that we require, is what I mean to say.
Yeah. So I know David is creating the GCPD driver.
Yeah.
And once he's done with that, I've asked him to add end-to-end tests around that so that we can actually test a real live working driver.
Yes. Now, the thing is, and this is where a little bit political, right? But once we add that driver, then we could add other drivers. Like maybe, somebody says, well, what about my driver, right?
Yeah.
That's why I try to keep it just to host path, right?
Yeah.
So
that's fair. And I think, like, honestly, I'm happy with more testing than less. Okay. I think that's one area where I would be like, yeah, if you want to add an AWS driver or any other driver, please, let's do it. I would rather us test those things and catch failures rather than not.
Okay.
Because the fact is that not all storage systems are going to be able to have end-to-end tests running in Kubernetes. If you're running like Fiber Channel or something, we just don't test that. But for the things that we can, let's do it.
Yeah, and right now the E2E tests are written in such a way that anybody can extend it to another driver. So as soon as those David's done, then we can definitely.
Cool. So I think the big next step is just enabling the existing end-to-end tests in the CI/CD in our test grid, so that they're continuously running.
If there's no feature gates needed, it's just going to start running, right?
No, I think this was this comment that was about the test needs to be whitelisted or added to somewhere in order for it to actually get picked up by.
I will take care of that.
Okay.
Awesome. I thought it would do it automatically if you didn't need feature gates.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's not currently running as CI/CD.
Yeah, Luis, I was told that basically if you remove feature word from the test description, then it should be picked up automatically. But I haven't had a chance to test it.
I will test it myself. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. And I don't think we need a separate version for beta because now everything is on beta.
Yep.
Okay, cool. CSI mount devices, David got that in, so that's green. So that was all the in-tree volume plug or in-tree Kubernetes stuff. Now for the out-of-tree changes, Sergey, do you want to talk about these?
Right. So these are okay. Provisioner needs to review. Driver registrar, it's already merged. External attacher merged. And host path. I mean, it's working, and the CSI command part is done. But I have a hard time with the dependency thing. So by some reason, when it tests again in the Travis, the dependency fails, even though the end-to-end test is completed. So, I mean, I'll probably reach out to some more experienced folks with the dependency, see what for some guidance, what to do with this.
Okay. Awesome. And so that's looking good. Do you need help in any of these areas, Sergey?
Yeah, especially for that dependency and the this one, the last one. Yeah, I would be good to have a pair of eyes. Especially, I focused on the host path, but there are a bunch of other plugins. I haven't touched them much, so that some help there would be nice.
Okay. So I think Chakri was the one who was most familiar with this, followed by Luis. I don't think Chakri is back yet. Luis, would you be able to help out at all on this? If not, we can possibly ask Pietro or Felipe.
Which section, sorry, are you in?
This is the one that's currently on the screen right now.
Travis, a person failure.
So I think this name is currently inaccurate. It should be like updating the external components for 0.2.
Oh, hey, Sergey, if you're running into issues with the with the dependency, just ping me.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I would definitely do that because I mean it drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, it's were you able? Did everything get moved to staging automatically yet, or what?
Oh yeah, that part is done. I mean, and the build, the local build is successful. It's only on Travis it fails, and I don't understand why.
Oh,
Right.
it's on Travis. It fails.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I'll look into it probably tomorrow morning.
Okay. So this includes volume attributes. So basically all the changes that we need for 0.2 are kind of bundled under this one issue now, or one task item. Sergey is creating a bunch of PRs for it. If you're responsible for one of these components, please look at the PRs that he sent out. And let's see, identity check on deletion. Is that a separate PR, Sergey?
Oh no, that's the issue we talked about.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
Provisioner
So
ID. So
yeah.
that will be fixed. It can be removed from here,
Cool.
I guess.
So I'll go ahead and remove this task item here because it's bundled into the item above. All right, cool. And actually it was already there, so we didn't need to recreate it.
I just added that bullet.
About documentation?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to track that as a separate item?
Whatever you like. I told you, Sid, to put it
Yeah,
on there.
let's just do it as a separate item.
Yeah, that's really important. I have a lot of people been looking at the 0.1 version.
Okay.
I can see that it's helped a lot of, but we do need to make that better.
Okay.
For 0.2.
And do you want to be the owner for that?
I definitely can be the owner, but I will find. Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Okay.
But if I get any help for that, that'll be great too.
Yep.
It's all PR based instead of wiki based as it was before. So.
Okay. Cool. Pietro and Felipe, this might be also an area that you might be able to help with. Okay, automated builds are done. Tests for external sidecar containers. Luis, do you want to talk about this or what the plans, next steps are?
External provisioning. I'm trying to remember what this was. Oh yes, of course. The provisioner. Okay. The external attacher and a driver registrar both have unit tests. Okay, which is good. So out of the 3 containers that are being used for production, the third one is the external provisioner, and it has 0 unit tests on it.
Okay.
Okay, and that's bad. So what we need is I created a project there, so have people come in and start adding unit tests to it.
Okay.
Okay, and the unit test can then, just like driver registrar and just like external attacher, they can use the CSI test mock driver, which is the one just for unit tests, right? The automatically generated one. But I don't have time to do that. But this is an area where I already have highlighted the areas that need to be tested. Somebody could just take one of the tasks in the project and just start working on it.
Okay. If you're interested in helping out with any of these help needed issues, just put your name underneath and reach out to Luis for what the next steps are.
Yeah, and I'll be at the gate on that. So
cool. All right, sounds good. External components should probe prior to storage ops. So the update here is that the external components themselves don't need to do it, but when you deploy a volume plugin, you should hook it up to the Kubernetes liveness probe. So I guess it should be plugins should hook into Kubernetes liveness probe. Plugin deployments. I don't think this is as critical right now. Felipe, if you're still interested in working on this, it's your call. Yeah. It would require modifying some of the existing driver plugins that exist, or the drivers that exist, and modifying their deployment scripts to add a liveness probe. And the challenge here is going to be figuring out how to actually expose just one RPC to Kubernetes, right? The Kubernetes liveness probe system. We don't want to expose the entire plugin because that would be a security risk, but we want to be able to expose just a single call, a probe call, and that could be done through a proxy of some sort. So that's the challenge there.
Okay. I mean, would there be a deadline for this?
I think by end of this month would be nice.
February
honestly,
or March?
End of March, correct. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
And if we don't get it in, it's not the end of the world because the plugins will still work. The only purpose of this would be if a plugin gets into an unhealthy state, this Kubernetes liveness probe will automatically restart the containers if the probe call is not responding. So it's just a nice to have.
I mean, if we have until end of March, I can take a look. Sure, no problem.
Okay, sounds good.
Who can I talk to for more details or if I need some help?
You can ping me. I can definitely provide you more details on this.
Sure.
And I think that there's a CSI issue that was opened, this one here, which has a lot of background information as well.
All right. Okay, I'll try to take a look and then I'll ping you a message, maybe asking some questions.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Saad, sorry, we played a bit in the past with this liveness thing, and I think there's a way basically to run an external command. And I was wondering if we can run it, if we can build like a simple binary that would do just a probe call RPC.
Yes.
So then you can run it within the context of the pod itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just get good or bad, and basically hook the liveness to the result of that binary command.
That sounds real good to me. So Luis, maybe instead of reaching out to me, or sorry, Felipe, instead of reaching out to me, reach out to Sergey. I think he's got the right idea.
All right.
Okay, cool. Automated build system for drivers. Luis, is this still something you want to track for this quarter?
No, and this has to do with the changes that I proposed to move the drivers into their own things and now make this part much easier.
Okay, so we'll drop that for this quarter. We have docs to write new drivers. That'll be a to-do for now, I suppose. Revisit the CSI docs in Kubernetes IO, make it user-facing. So I think we should just handle all the doc stuff all at once together. And that's pretty much it. So right now I'm tracking 3 big issues. One is making all the external components 0.2 compatible. That's extremely critical. Once that's done, end-to-end testing everything and adding new unit tests, basically just test everything. And then number 3 is documentation. And actually number 4 is external drivers. That work will continue in parallel. So we have until the end of March to make sure that we get all of this stuff done to align with the Kubernetes release. And we'll declare beta with the Kubernetes release for the Kubernetes implementation of CSI. And then folks who are implementing these volume plugins can implement a 0.2 compatible plugin and know that it's going to work with Kubernetes. And that's it. And then for next quarter, we're going to have to decide whether we want to go GA or wait a quarter, leave it in beta, and then go GA the subsequent quarter. I think that'll be based on the amount of work that we have queued up for next quarter. So one of the things that I'll ask you for the next month is come up with a list of items that you think we need to do before GA, and then we can consolidate that list and come up with something concrete for the next quarter.
Okay. This is a philosophical question, but can Kubernetes ever be GA if CSI spec is still under major changes from one version?
Yeah, so that's a good point. And the plan is that we should be in alignment essentially. Right around when Kubernetes goes GA is when CSI should also go 1.0. And based on the discussions around the 0.2 release of CSI, it sounds like we want to do that sooner rather than later, because having this spec constantly change in breaking ways is very difficult for folks to adopt. And so post 0.2, we want to minimize the backwards compatibility breaking changes. So my gut feeling is that if we go GA next quarter, then CSI will go 1.0 next quarter. If we don't, then CSI will probably go to 0.3 and then go to 1.0 the subsequent quarter.
Okay.
So it should align with Kubernetes.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Does everybody on the call feel like they have a good direction on what they should be working on? Or if you don't, please speak up or message me offline and I can help you find something to work on.
I'm good.
Yeah, same.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet on Friday then.
All right, Saad.
Thank you.
Later.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.